What's up, folks? It's 2bricks, and I'm here today to review the May the 1st / May the 4th wave of Star Wars sets, and I'm also going to be taking a look at the bonus items that I received for my purchase. I actually didn't pick up the entire wave because the two sets, the Pod Racer and the Pod Race Diorama and the TIE Interceptor, while they looked fantastic as display items, I just didn't feel like I could justify the cost for those, especially given that we weren't getting the super valuable high-end minifigures like the Saw Gerrera here, which I simply need to have for my wall. And we are getting an exclusive TIE pilot with the Interceptor, but I feel like I can go ahead and purchase that at a later date. These are the ones that I wanted to get in order to maximize my purchase and get the gift with purchase set here, which is frankly ridiculously good. So yeah, hopefully at the time that you guys are watching this now, if you still haven't gotten your May the 4th promotions yet, it's still running and you can still get a hold of some of these, because this in particular is absolutely ludicrously good, and this set is ludicrously good as well. I'm really excited to talk about that, and then we have others that have I have some quibbles with, but overall a really nice May the 4th wave here to celebrate the 25th year of LEGO Star Wars, so very exciting. So yeah, there'll be time codes down in the bar there. You can jump around to see the reviews that you want to see, and then at the end I'll take a look at these items here. So without further ado, let's get into the review. Alright, so we'll start with the smallest here. This is the BARC Speeder Escape set. It comes with the single sticker sheet here, which has 4 pretty useful stickers on it. It's got the one right here, and then 2 back here that contain some sort of details that are harder to capture if you were trying to do it brick built. And then the last one goes back here just to kind of carry this red stripe through. So very minimal on the stickers, and I think very useful ones at that. We get our very aggressively standard instruction manual here, the regular old steps, nothing fancy there, no info or anything like that about the scene, which is totally fine. This is such a small set, I wouldn't expect it. We have our 25th anniversary brick and the much laughed at and talked about lamppost right here. I'll get to that in a second. I do think that it is that it has a function that is useful within the set, and I understand why it's there, although I would have personally made a few changes in terms of the decision making of how this set's budget was allocated, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. We have an extra piece here that isn't actually an extra piece. It's the to allow Grogu's little baby carrier to levitate, and then we have a bunch of extras here. 2 notable pieces that I liked is the 3L bar in the bright green, and the little Baraki eye piece in the dark bluish gray. Very useful. I love that. So yeah, that kind of covers everything that you get here, so let's get in and take a look at the close-up. So I want to get the elephant in the room out of the way first. The price, this is a $30 set, and I will just tell you straight off the bat, this does not feel like $30 worth of Lego. It is 221 pieces, so the price to part ratio is also not very good. However, I do think that in terms of where you're coming from as a Lego collector, if you're somebody like me who is focused on getting the important minifigures like Keller and Beck here, you're going to want to pick this up regardless, because the price of these figures will, or the price of this figure, will probably dwarf the actual price of the set itself in future, and Lego does know that, and that is probably one of the reasons why sticking an exclusive figure like this into an otherwise poorly valued set is a tactic that they know works, because in the long run it's going to be the better option for collectors. So that is a bummer, and I think that the much laughed at lamppost here was a step in the right direction, but what I think that they did wrong here is to just simply include something that was not of any relevance to the scene whatsoever. So I went back and watched the scene, and you can very clearly see on the edge of the landing platform here, you have this lamppost with a few of them. So I get that they were trying to set the scene here for the speeder bike. Kelleran has to make his way through the troopers with Grogu protecting him to get to the speeder bike. But what seems to me would have been a more fitting choice, and maybe, I don't know, seems like a more obvious choice, would have been to scrap this and to reduce the size of the BARC Speeder, which would have made fans actually happier, because this thing is probably twice the size it needs to be, and instead made the temple sort of doorway where we could have an opening door to have that reveal shot where Grogu comes out of the elevator and Kelleran Beck says, "It's gonna be okay, kid." And I feel like that would have been a much better use of the budget, the parts budget for this set, and it also would have allowed them to include less larger pieces, like you have this very large long slope here that could easily be replaced by, if this speeder was scaled down, you could definitely get more pieces in here, so the price to part ratio would look more appealing. And then you could also have more pieces building up the wall and the doorway section, and then you'd actually have like a little mini diorama that you could kind of functionally use, whereas this on its own feels very, very, very disposable indeed, and you can't really interact with it in any meaningful way. Like, you can have your troopers standing up here, you can have them doing, singing in the rain, but there's really nothing of value to this. You can't even, it's not even a thing you can like knock over during the fight. You can't have Kelleran cut it down and have the actual pole fall over. It's just sort of, it just doesn't have any utility within the play of the set here, other than just to be a piece of scenery that is very disposable. So I think that is disappointing, but I want to look at the minifigures and the build itself up close, because I think that there are some really good things in here. So first up we have the now standard Grogu carrier, but this time with the dark red accents, so that's really nice. It's always been a good design, I think, and it works really well. It fits your Grogu pretty much perfectly, and this is probably one of the reasons why the set had to be so oversized, is because it was all kind of scaled around this baby carrier being able to fit into the sidecar of the speeder. But I still think that there was definitely a lot of opportunity to scale the speeder itself down and maybe have this feel a little bit large in the passenger seat. But anyway, I like the design of this. It's done well and it works. So the speeder itself, and I'll just pop Grogu in there so you can kind of get the full feel of it. So he has a couple of jumpers here that accommodates his little carrier, and then it sits in there like that. So the shaping of all this is very nice. It's just, way too big, but the actual like seat back here feels very comfortable and very right for a minifigure to sit in. The actual length proportionately of the nose to the rest of the ship feels pretty good. There's a lot more kind of hollow exposed studs that feel sort of, I don't know, haphazard a little bit, sort of, it gives it an unfinished kind of a feel. So I'm not really sure why they opted to do that. We have the two stud shooters at the front here, so you can definitely have a little bit of interaction with that, even though, in the scene they're being chased from behind. So if you're trying to recreate the scene, you wouldn't really get much of an opportunity to use those, but they're still nice to have. The sidecar can bend down like this, which is funny, or you can kind of have it like this, so you can sling it low. I don't know, why you would want to do that, but it's an option if you want to kind of make pretend like Grogu's little sidecar can like dodge out of the way of some blaster bolts. You can kind of position it like that, but most of the time you'll just leave it in the standard configuration and it works just fine. But yeah, honestly, my only real issue with this thing is that it just is like maybe not half the size, or maybe not twice the size it should be, but it's maybe like, it should be like 2/3 of this size, and then I think it would be pretty much perfect. Yeah, but the piece usage, I really like these large quarter round hemisphere, quarter sphere pieces. They're really cool, and all the detailing in here with the engines feels appropriate enough. We get 4 skis, so you can definitely use these on your own BARC Speeder mock. Those are always very, very useful pieces to have. Oh, actually, 5 skis, there's another one here. And yeah, so it just feels like a good start. It feels like a good base for a mock. So yeah, not too bad. And then of course we get the 501st Legion troops here. These are very nice. I believe these are absolutely identical to the ones that we've been receiving lately. That's totally fine. They share the same head. Again, totally fine. The correct skin tone for Jango Fett clone head there looks great, and the detailing on these is still absolutely top notch. The only thing is there's a little bit of a kind of wide gap around the visor here, or the printing for the sort of central ridge. It gives it a really wide berth, and mine is a little bit wonky. But from a distance it looks absolutely fine. This blue detailing on their torsos always reminds me of the Eiffel Tower, so in my head I secretly refer to these as Parisian clone troopers, but maybe that's just me. But yeah, those are great, very massable, very usable, and people have been asking for years to get more 501st clones, so there you go. But here's the real star of the show. It is Master Kelleran Beck. The detailing on his robes with a little bit of gold printed in there around the hem of his robe looks absolutely fantastic. A little bit of metallic printing for his belt looks great, and they got the facial expression just right. He's very serious and stoic, but with a little hint of a twinkle in his eye, maybe. I don't know, maybe just to me. He does have literal white twinkle in his eye, but yeah, he just looks like he's about to mess some stuff up. And I love it. It comes with the spongy cape, which I actually have come to greatly prefer over the years, especially as I've been collecting minifigures and seeing the old starched paper capes start to fray at the edges and get all messed up. I think that these are far superior, and I hope that we continue to get them. And then he's got the fairly standard Jedi robe detailing in the back, except for they continued the gold pattern around the collar there, and it just looks absolutely so good. And you kind of need that because it separates this visually from other Jedi, and it lets you know that this is Caloran Beck, and he has kind of a special distinguished role within the Order, because nobody else really wears these kind of ornamented robes like that, so it kind of makes sense why he was the one that all the Jedi were to evacuate the children, you know, get them to him, because I guess that's his designated role as a badass child protector, so that's cool. But yeah, the figure itself, I think, works absolutely great, and I'm super glad to be able to get another Ahmed Best representation in Lego to go alongside all of our various Jar Jar Binkses. So yeah, absolutely great. So final thoughts on the set. If you're buying this as a way to get the May the 4th promotional items, and also you're buying it because you don't want to be spending insane amounts of money later on to get a Caloran Beck minifigure, it's absolutely worth the money. It's just a shame that the stuff that you're getting with it, the actual things you're paying for, are a little bit lacking, but it's not the worst that I've seen for sure. As far as set to buy to get a single minifigure, I've definitely seen worse. So yeah, all in all, decent with this one, a little bit disappointing, but for sure still a fun addition to your clone and Mandalorian kind of army. And next up we have the Sith Infiltrator, which is in many ways my favorite Sith Infiltrator that Lego's ever done, and also I have some issues with it. So kind of a mixed bag on my feelings towards it. I do really like the minifigures though. We'll take a look at those up close in a second. Very, very normal, not in any way noteworthy instruction manual. And here we have our extra pieces, so extra spring-loaded shooter bolt, a couple of lightsabers, a roller skate piece in the flat silver, which is very useful, and one of these Darth Maul headgear pieces, which I do actually really like, because there are a lot of Darth Maul figures in the past that came with just the hood, and it's nice to be able to then have a spare, which we can use as an option to give Darth Maul his unhooded look with the horns. That's very cool. But yes, I actually really do enjoy this set. I enjoyed putting it together. I have some issues with the finished product, but I definitely understand a lot of the decisions that went into the design of that. We'll talk about that in a sec. There is the box, very nice sort of Tatooine artwork there. The one thing I wanted to discuss with the box art is the rendering that was done to show this Saw Gerrera minifigure. It's just aggressively hideous. It's so awful. I don't know why it looked like that. The actual figure itself looks so incredibly badass, and this looks like a cheap knockoff, to the point where I had seen leaked images of this and I was actually convinced that it was a fan rendering. They don't show any of the redeeming value of this, or any of the like characteristics of this figure that make it so great. And in fact, they strip away, like this looks like a standard green print rather than the very nice dark green that we get. The skin tone looks super weird, and the facial expression itself even looks off. I mean, I have the other face here, but the just the way that the plastic is rendered, it just makes it look wrong. Lego, you should not do that. You should take photos of your actual awesome products to put on the box. They actually had a similar issue some years back when the Grogu figure was first introduced. The renderings of it looked absolutely horrendous, and everyone was like, well, this is it. This is the end of Lego. We're done. Because, you know, everybody overreacts to things that are not the official thing. But when the actual minifig, or, you know, microfig came out, it looked great. So I don't know. I think Lego should definitely ditch the CG renderings in favor of actual photography. I think that would do them a lot of favors. But anyhow, let's get into the set itself, and I'll show you my quibbles with it, and I'll tell you the things that I like. So the Infiltrator itself looks great from almost every angle, except for the fact that this ridge up the middle here is far too prominent, and it's curved, and it just draws way too much attention to itself. This should be a nice, sleek, you know, slow ramp from this level down to here. just in a straight line. So I actually have some ideas for mods for that, so I'll go ahead and probably do a little mod video for this. The actual cockpit looks great. The wings look fine, or whatever these are supposed to be. I really like the use of all of these different sizes of the curved plates to achieve the nice flat look back here. The wings can obviously be adjusted out. You can go as far as you want with it, but obviously I would recommend to stick to what it looks like in the movie, which is about like this, something like that. The back can open, which is nice. It's got a little ramp here, and then you can also open the top lid and move these side parts aside here, so you can really get access to the interior. You have a couple of clips here, so you can fit Darth Maul's lightsaber blades separately, but still both fit in there, which is nice. Actually, let me see. Can this actually fit in here? Yes, I think it can. Okay. Yeah. And then the little speeder bike here, which I don't like the design of on its own, but I do understand needs to fit into this space, so that's fine and dandy. I'll just show you how that looks with Maul on it. So let me just place him on here, get his hands in place. So he just has to hold on to the handlebars here in order to fit into the thing, which is absolutely fine. I did the same exact thing with my own design. It just gives you a little bit of freedom in terms of not having to stud him down to a very narrow thing, so that's fine. He looks decently okay on it. It's obviously kind of comically small. It's a bit more of a scooter than a bike, but then you can just fit it right back in here, and so it just very nicely fits into the little control console area here, and so it looks like Maul is at the controls, and then he can just deploy his bike. So that's all very nice and good, and I appreciate it. The set also comes with retractable-ish landing gear, so these can fold away, tuck back like that, and they look decently good when they are retracted, so that's nice. So to get to the main kind of functions here that are built into the ship, we have this opening sort of door here. Not a fan of all of the pink and green that I can see inside of here, but whatever is what it is. And then you can load up Darth Maul's little probe droids in here, which I have a sneaking suspicion LEGO designers consider to be bombs or something, from the way that they're always having these be deployed in this fashion. But yes, these are the little probe droids that Darth Maul sends out after Qui-Gon and everybody. And then you have a little trapdoor mechanism in here that you can use to release them. So let me try to do that. And there you go, they all come tumbling out. So that works decently well, although I am concerned that this rubber piece here that they're using to push this back into place is under a lot of tension, and I'm a little bit worried that this will wear out after some time of being stuck in this position, so I'm not going to leave it here like this for too long. But I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, not a fan of that, and also really not a fan of the red being used under here. I have to double check the source material, but I'm pretty sure there isn't supposed to be a big splash of red right there. Other than that, the rest of it under here looks very nice. We have the green and red indicator lights under here, which I guess are supposed to be like airplane lights, but I definitely like the red better than I like the green, although again, that may be canonical. I have to double check that. The other detailing that we get in here in terms of piping and intersecting surfaces and greebling along the side here all looks very good to me. And I think that overall the scale works well enough for what this is supposed to be that I really don't mind how itty bitty it is, because Darth Maul's ship is actually fairly chunky in universe, but this works well enough, and you can hold it well, and it can swoosh, and you can grab it from the front, and you're not gonna like break it or anything. So that's all very nice and good. But yeah, I think just those minor kind of issues in there with the weird color choices, and then the squishiness of this piece kind of gives me some pause. So there is one other thing that I want to discuss, which is to do with the final hidden feature here, which is that you push these and you launch spring-loaded shooters out of the front of this, and those are gone for good. But these, I don't know if it's a problem with the bolts or a problem with the actual spring pieces. Let me show you. So when I try to actually put these back, I have a really hard time getting it to actually engage. It took me many tries to get this to actually stick in place. There you go, it took like 6 tries, and then it finally caught. And then I'll try to do this one. Oh, and the other one's come loose. So yeah, these do not want to clutch. There you go. So now I just have to not breathe on it. So yeah, that's concerning. These used to be super reliable in how they worked, and I feel like either the mold is getting worn out so that the pieces are just not clutching like they should, and that could lead to accidental deployments. And especially if you have a kid who's like, oh, let me see your cool Sith Infiltrator, and come over and take a look at it, and then they shoot themselves in the eye, that's not great, especially because these activators are very, very hair trigger. So yeah, I'm a little bit concerned about that. That's a quality issue, and I hope that LEGO looks into it, because especially with you know, a thing that is ostensibly for shooting, they want it to work just right. The other thing that I guess I didn't consider is that it could be the actual mechanism that they put in place to launch these that is putting too much pressure on the back of these bolts and is making them want to fire off on their own. That could be responsible for that as well. So yeah, I don't know. That's an issue, LEGO. I hope that you look into it. So there you go. Let's take a look at the figs. Okay, so we have Darth Maul's little probe droid buddies here. These are very flat on the sides because they need to fit into that little bomb bay area of the interceptor, so they don't have that nice round look that you would like to see for the probe droids, but you know, it's okay. And then next up we have Darth Maul himself. A lot of hay has been made about Darth Maul having the yellow eyes and no pupils in this. I think it looks absolutely fine. It doesn't bother me at all. As a Legoification of a Sith Lord with yellow eyes, I think it looks absolutely perfectly fine. I like, you know, continue to enjoy the horn pieces here that they've been using for like, I think 10 years now at this point. And I think that the detailing on Maul's robes is perfectly satisfactory. I like that they give him the little indication of the shoe detailing there, the front of the toes. That's cool. Very minimal detailing on the back, but again, it's, you know, it's a black robed character, so how much can you really do before it starts to feel like overkill? The only thing that I would say was a big miss on this is that the kind of key look of the scene is Maul hooded, robed, with his cloak flowing, especially when he's riding on this speeder bike and is kind of on the hunt, and then when he actually gets into the fight with Qui-Gon, he's very much still a mysterious figure, and he's not 100% bam, in your face, look at me, I got my horns kind of a guy. So it would have been really nice to get an optional cape for him, or the hooded piece as well as an option. Because, you know, LEGO is charging us enough for these sets. It would be nice to throw in a little something to make it feel more accurate to the scene. But there you go. That's my only really main gripe with Maul. Otherwise, I think he looks fine. We get Qui-Gon here with a nice furry poncho. He's looking very nice, still using that same classic hairpiece from all the way back in, I think, 1999 is when they first made this mold, and why change perfection? It looks great. He's got the, obviously, printed Jedi robes under here. The only thing, of course, is that we have the kind of weaker printing there for the legs, so it really doesn't convince anybody that this is one continuous flowing robe piece, which is a little bit of a bummer. Qui-Gon has his angry face for when he's battling, and then he has his more placid face for when he's trying to think of how to scam Watto out of the parts for his ship. And then under here we have just the kind of standard pouches and folds of Jedi robes that you'd expect to see. So pretty standard on that, but I do like that he has the poncho. See, this is accurate to the look of that scene. I feel like we almost always get a poncho now with Qui-Gon, whatever set he comes in, and that's great. And I would like to see the cloak and robe, please, for Maul, but that's him. And next up we have Anakin with his, what did you say? Did you say drop? Right before he gets sliced in half. Look there, that's great. They gave him a little bit of the texture there for his very dirty slave garb that he wears, and then also he has the alternate face for when he's not tired and not unhappy. I believe that this is a Harry Potter hairpiece that has been recolored in dark tan, and it looks absolutely great. It looks probably the best kind of tousled-haired Anakin look that I think we've ever gotten, so great call on that. And he has the short legs. I still feel like from LEGO we could get a short-legged minifigure that can actually articulate its legs a little bit. I think it is within LEGO's capability to do, but you know, regardless, whatever. The short legs were introduced way back for actually for the LEGO Star Wars theme, and so it's fitting that they're continuing to use them to this day. But yeah, I think overall a nice little figure. He's got his little necklace there, and it looks great. And of course, the star of the show here is Saul Guerrera. So he's got his big shoulder armor piece here, which I was that was something I included in my own kind of mock version of this character when I did it. I used the ones from the Buzz Lightyear sets. He's got all of this different detailing in here for all of the different tubes and ventilation and things that kind of keep his suit alive and keep him alive, and looks absolutely fantastic. He's got the 2 different colored hands because he has one robotic hand and he has also got one cybernetic foot. So he's got the indication for that here just with a printing on the toe here. So it looks like he's got one steel capped boot and one regular shoe there. So that's cool. It would have been nice to get a dual molded piece, or in fact just go the full prosthetic leg route and give him an actual, like, the Lego has various different prosthetic leg pieces that they could use in favor of this, but if they were going to go the printed route, this is about as good as I could expect it to look. And then he has the 2 different faces there, so serious and paranoid, and serious and stoic. So he's got, like, Saw doesn't really, especially at this stage of his life that we're seeing here, he really doesn't have a lot of emotional range other than angry, so that's pretty much perfect. I really like his little staff here. And then we're even getting, like, shoulder printing for this on both sides, unique shoulder printing. So it looks absolutely fantastic. The cape here is the sort of partisan flag, which I feel like was, cut out of a larger piece. I don't know the full backstory of this cape, but it just feels like something that was taken in the battlefield as like a trophy and worn as a cape, and that's absolutely fantastic. It looks so good. And we didn't get to see a hint of that in the marketing material, so it was one of those things that's like, come on, Lego, you're not doing yourselves any favors. And then you can actually have him without the shoulder armor piece. They actually continued the same exact design underneath, so you can choose to have a more stripped down version if you want. And he's got all of this exquisite detailing back here, all of the hatching of the different texture to get that to feel like it's super detailed. So yeah, absolutely love this figure. This one is an absolute perfect win for me, no questions asked. Great job, Lego. Okay, so for $70 US, do I think that this set is worth the money? Well, again, on paper, price to part ratio, 640 pieces for $70 seems okay. It's not great. We would really want to have around about 60 pieces more to make it feel worthwhile, but those 60 pieces could definitely be little tiny 1x1 studs, and then you'd technically have a value on paper that lines up. But to me, I think that the thing to really look at here is, does it feel like it's $70 worth of stuff when you hold it in your hands and you swish it around? And I think that it pretty much does. I think if the Sol Guerrera and the whole kind of 25th anniversary plaque weren't in here to make this feel just a little bit extra special, I might be saying no. But I think that the figures are good and very usable. The scene is depicted well, and what you want to have out of your Sith Infiltrator, you can have. So it all feels like it works well without too many compromises. I am still a little bit concerned about the quality issue on those, either on that mechanism or on the actual spring-loaded bolts themselves. But that aside, I think that the ship looks good. I will be doing probably a little mod video on this to just kind of make this feel a little bit nicer. I don't think you need a ton of extra parts either. I think it's actually a fairly simple thing to do without losing any of the functionality of the droid. So yeah, I think that was a little bit of a miss. But other than that, I think it's the most faithful looking version of this ship that LEGO's ever done. So I like that about it. But yeah, it's kind of up to you. But I think for me, if you enjoy what you see here as far as what the ship looks like, I think you'll enjoy the build. It was very satisfying and very kind of classic Lego. To me, it gave me a lot of nostalgia, and I enjoyed the build process, and the figures are good. So there you go. Buy it, buy this set, get it now. This is the Droideka, and to me, this is perfect. I had so much fun putting this together. I really enjoyed every aspect of the design of this thing. And that's my review. Thank you very much for watching. Okay, so here are the extra pieces that you get. You have a couple of these black whip pieces, which are very useful pieces indeed. And other than that, some fairly standard, studs and quartered tiles and levers and things like that. I have one extra lipstick piece because the eyes here are very cleverly done here with some nice part usage with the lipstick pieces. Absolute genius. I wish I'd thought of that myself. The instruction manual is the kind of UCS light version here, where we get a little bit of information from the designer, a little bit of the kind of inspiration behind the actual creation itself, and just to sort of celebrate the source material a little bit, and I appreciate that. Other than that though, standard instruction manual as you'd expect. We have our little UCS style plaque here, which even has room on the side for your 25th anniversary brick. And then we also have a mini Droideka here that is sort of minifigure scaled. And I didn't like the look of it when I first saw the production images for this, but I actually quite enjoyed it in real life. And I think that at a glance, it actually feels pretty reasonable as a minifigure scale destroyer droid. So yeah, actually pretty impressed with that. So let's look at the actual Droideka itself, because I love it. Okay, first R2 and now this. You cannot tell me that I don't have fans over at LEGO. Hey, LEGO, thanks for watching. I appreciate all of the work that you're doing translating what I'm making into official LEGO sets. Keep it up. No, I'm kidding, of course, but I absolutely had to do a quick comparison shot between my own Droideka at this rough scale and the official one here. The official one obviously looks much, much cleaner. It has the slick lines and the really beautifully designed sort of elegantness to it, because it's a little bit of a smaller design, and so it's just slightly more sleek, and mine's a bit more chunky, but I really enjoy seeing these two next to each other side by side. And I'm very glad that I never made instructions for my own model, because this exists now and it's actually much better, so you should just buy the official set instead. So there you go, comparison over. But yes, taking a look at this, I really do feel like this is a rare LEGO set where every single decision was made absolutely correctly. So we have the fixed position here for the legs, which was absolutely the right choice because it makes it very stable and you can just put it down and drop it on a table and it won't go anywhere. We have stickers that are used to good effect. So we have 2 stickers on each of these panels back here, and then a third smaller one underneath. So 6 in total on the sides of there, and then we just have these ones here on the back to capture this little bit of detailing that you could not capture otherwise. And I think that's you know, absolutely perfect and reasonable use of stickers, and can't complain about it whatsoever. They used the hose, or not the hose, the whip pieces here to capture the kind of cables that run all throughout the arms of the droid, which I think works absolutely great. They even went as far as to give us the kind of vented section back here, where there's some gaps in between each of the panel sections, and I just think it looks so fantastic. And even the way that there isn't actually a gap in between these two because they're sitting right side by side, but they just offset them by a plate so that there was an impression of a little bit of a gap created in here, and so it just works absolutely great. The actual one function that this has, well, I guess other than the fact that you can technically fold it into its ball position, is that the arms, when you kind of make one look like it's shooting, the other one kind of opposes it, which sort of gives it the movie accurate look there, and I think that looks great. I did mention already the nice parts usage for the eye pieces here. I really can't overstate what a genius move that was to get the little bit of red at the end of that without making it too chunky. Great job on that one, LEGO. Absolutely love it. And then yeah, because this is sort of all built up on a lot of hinges and stuff, it's very sturdy, but it can be rotated around into its ball mode. But before I do that, I just wanted to take a little bit longer to just take all of this in and really appreciate all of the design work that went into it. Having actually made one of these myself at this scale, I really appreciate how tricky this is to achieve, and I love the end result. They even didn't really include any kind of off colors here. The only off color you could say is tan, but I think it really doesn't draw attention to itself in there. And the very mechanical nature of this actual mechanical creation, it kind of lends itself to being a Technic and system build. They got the parts that needed to be sleek to feel sleek, and they got the parts that needed to feel technical to feel technical. So very, very impressed with all of that. And the actual kind of ball housing down here, where all of the different parts of the body connect in, feels absolutely great. So slick and smooth, using some relatively new pieces in here. We have these little interesting sort of quarter rounded off corner pieces here that are used to great effect to round out this whole section at the bottom. And the shaping on these blasters is exquisite, using this double-sided little cheese wedge piece in here to just kind of taper that off so nicely on the inside. It just looks great. It's absolutely fantastic. I would have liked for these pistons to be attached beyond just the suggestion of them looking attached, but you know, I can't complain. Oh, I did forget to actually mention the 2 more stickers here and one on the other side as well, to kind of again indicate that there's a hole cut into this piece, which is something you just would not be able to do otherwise. So there it is. So let me show you what it looks like as a ball. So you pop the legs off, trying to keep the Technic pins together. It doesn't really matter, but something I like to do. But we're going to put them right back, so it doesn't actually matter. So you take all those off, and then you fold these piston pieces forward here, and then you just kind of tuck the arms up using all of its various joints to get a nice closed up arm position. Then you pull these out and then just kind of tuck the body in like so. And then you go ahead and actually fold the legs, or put the legs back in reverse so that they're pointed upwards instead of downwards, which is pretty much exactly how it is in the actual on-screen CGI model of the Droideka as well. And when you kind of slow the transformation down, take a look at it, that's what you get. And then so once those are all in place, you have yourself a ball. I guess you tuck the head down as well. And there it is. So it just works absolutely great. It can roll. Absolutely no problems with that. It's very, very sturdily constructed, so you can I mean, it's not the most elegant thing, but you know, I also don't have a ton of space here. But yeah, you can see it rolls no problem. And the shell here, there's no concern of it buckling or anything because of the sturdiness of the ratcheting hinges that they used to connect all of these pieces together. And then also the spacing kind of keeps it naturally where you want it to be. So that all works absolutely great. And you could even sort of, you know, display it like this if you wanted to. And people might look at this and say, what the heck is that? Is that an armadillo? What am I looking at? And then you can unfold it, show them the full Droideka. So that's fun. Yeah, I'm really glad that they decided to include this function because it's sort of a very iconic part of the design. And if they hadn't given you the ability to at least put it into a bowl pose like this, it would have felt like a miss. And it's not as dynamic as the old Technic model from I think the year 2000, 2001, where it actually had the function where you would fold it and it's using a bunch of rubber bands and things, it would actually deploy its legs and it would stand up and pop into its final position. But that, you know, that worked kind of iffy anyway. And I think having this be just a static display model that you transform manually was probably a better choice anyway. So yeah, definitely I have essentially no complaints about this. No notes. Thanks, Lego. And if I just quickly borrow Qui-Gon from my other set here and put him next to the Droideka, you can see it really does scale pretty much perfectly to a minifigure, and that is rather impressive. So thank you for standing in for that, Qui-Gon. The thing that would have, I think, put this absolutely over the edge for me is if they had found a way to include the third antenna in there. Obviously, that's darn near impossible to do. I've struggled with that exact problem myself, so I'm not going to ding Lego for that. And I think if they had recolored the lever pieces here in brown, that would have kind of made this another thing that's like extra special, because we would have had that nice flowing brown shape here for the head that isn't interrupted by the gray. But again, I think that's a pretty minor thing. I think that the use of these claw pieces for the legs actually works a lot better than I thought that it would. When I first saw the pictures, I thought that this would look lame, but it actually works fine. That keeps happening. I keep looking at early promotional images and thinking, ooh, and then I actually get it in my hands and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, no, that actually works. I don't think you can really roll this in any meaningful way. I mean, I guess you could, what could you do? Yeah, I guess you could like take off the stand here and then you could just flip the legs upside down maybe. And then would that allow this to roll? Let's see. So tuck these up. Oops. Lost the leg. Yeah, tuck these antennae down, and it's, yeah, you know, it's reasonable. It's sort of bowl-like. You can do it, but I would not recommend doing all of that. I think you could just keep it in its standard configuration, and it looks fine. But yeah, this is actually respectable. I definitely came into this ready to hate this tiny Droideka, and I was pleasantly surprised. I think you can actually stand it up no problem without the stand as well, but they just give you that for a little bit of extra. First of all, so you can display it on here, but yeah, you can actually put it up without the clear stand, and it stands no problem. So cool. Yeah, this thing is nice. I'm shocked. So this model will set you back $65 US, and for just under 600 pieces, I think that the parts per part ratio is decent, and I think that the build experience that you get for this is top notch. I actually had such a blast putting this together, and I highly recommend it. I think that it's one of the most reasonably priced of the sort of large character models, and I think that in terms of the shelf and display value that it gives, it's off the charts. It's actually quite a lot smaller than I had initially imagined, but I think that they scaled it just right. I think that any larger of a scale would have put it at a slightly awkward scale for certain elements of it, like getting the eyepieces just right at this scale. I think was kind of perfect, and I think it almost feels like the whole thing was scaled to that. And having the decision to have it be this size also helps it to be not as heavy, and so a lot easier to display and a lot more durable as well. So I really think, like I said in the beginning, I think they made every decision essentially correctly with this, and I'm super, super thrilled with it. So this is my one absolute full recommend, no reservations. I think if you're a LEGO Star Wars fan and you watched The Phantom Menace in theaters, you are going to have so much fun putting this together and putting it on your shelf. So there you go. Okay, so now I want to take a look at the free stuff. So we'll get this out of the way first. It's the little coin here. It comes in the little TIE Fighter window box with the X-Wing being targeted outside. So obviously this is intended to go along with your TIE Interceptor set, even though the TIE Interceptors were not present at this particular scene, but I still get what they're trying to do. I think it's cool. Pop this out really quick and discard the box. And you can see here that we have like a little fun little gimmick here with the targeting computer trying to line up the kill shot on the X-Wing. So that's very nice. The actual production on this, it's a little bit of a rough cut around the edge of this plastic disc. I don't know if you can really see that, but it definitely caught my eye when I first opened it up. It just looked a little bit of a sort of clumsy machined part here. But the actual metal of the coin is solid and heavy, and it gives you the TIE Fighter window on the back, as well as the year and location of its manufacturer. You know, it is what it is. I don't really feel like these particular items are of any real value to most LEGO Star Wars collectors beyond just, cool, that's neat. I really feel like for what must be an astronomical production cost to make these things, they could really put that into something like an exclusive minifigure to really give a lot of extra value to folks who, are into LEGO Star Wars. This is not really compatible with anything. It's just sort of a thing that you have and can put on the shelf, and every now and then you can come here and do this. I don't know. I really think that we should move past these. The Beskar brick keychain and the Death Star plans disc, those kind of things, I just think that they're like, whatever. I don't know. That's just my opinion. I'd love to know what you guys think down in the comments. Do you get any value out of these? Do you get any joy from having a thing like this? Because for me personally, whatever. All right, moving on. So then we have the AAT tank here. This is a polybag that you get for free. And I think that it is decent. I think that it has a couple of awkward sort of angles and a couple of awkward proportions. The head feels way too chunky. There's this sort of section that sticks out of the back here. That's just to keep it upright so it doesn't just tip. The bottom saucer section feels a little too narrow, and it is what it is. But I think that the parts pack that this constitutes is very nice. I really like these elements here. I really like these elements back here. The dish in tan is always a useful thing to have for any sort of Tatooine mock or things like that. Overall, as just a thing that is useful to LEGO builders, I like it. But as an AAT model, I don't really get a ton out of this. So there's that. A nice bonus, definitely more usable than the coin, but not anything essential to your collection. And then we come to it. Probably the greatest gift with purchase LEGO promotion that I think they've ever done. I mean, this is just a LEGO set. Like, why is this not on shelves? I'm kind of flabbergasted, honestly. If they had included a Gungan warrior with like a Kadu, which is those sort of ostrich things that they ride, even like a little brick built one, this would have been like easily a $50 set on Lego shelves, which you know, it's cool that we got it as a free gift with purchase. I'm definitely not complaining. It's just baffling and in the best way. So we have the droid pallet here that can be pulled out. You can actually pull it all the way out like so, and then you have all of your troops that you can mock like you're deploying here, and then the actual carrier will go off and get another pallet of troops to bring along to the battlefield. And then these are all kind of comedically stacked in here with their chests down and their heads up like this to make it look like they can, you know, sort of hop off and deploy into the battlefield. But that works really well. And then all of their guns are stacked back here, so that's great. The actual shaping on the carrier is really, really nice. I love how slick and smooth and rounded they made all of this. And then the technique for attaching these in here with the rounded tiles with the hole in the middle that just connects into that jumper plate there works absolutely great. These pilot droids, I think these are pilots. The commanders are yellow, I believe, and the pilots are blue, are also really great. And they have that little bit of extra detailing there with the little black circle on the front, which I'm not sure I've ever seen represented on a battle droid before. I'll have to check with my own ones. It looks absolutely great, you know, and even though the print color here is a little bit transparent, it doesn't really affect it too much. Not in the way that like Jedi's robes, for example, would, because this is just supposed to be an insignia kind of look there, so I'm cool with that. And you get two of those, they're identical, and then the actual, like all of the shaping, it's just so nice, you know, it's so much nicer than it needed to be. And it feels like there was no kind of compromise, like, okay, well, this is just a little add-on gift with purchase thing. You can just sort of make it whatever. It feels like a full-on classic Lego set that people would still be trying to get their hands on today if it was on shelves. So yeah, great job Lego on this one. I think this and the Droideka make for an absolute, you know, awesome May the 4th collection. And if you could just get the Droideka and have this as a bonus on top of that, then I think you'd be absolutely set. But as is, it's a pretty nice wave altogether. All right, you guys, so that's everything. Hopefully you enjoyed taking a look at the May wave with me here. I definitely had a really fun time putting all of these together. It was nice to be able to jump around between a large buildable character, a ship set, and then a small sort of battle pack style set. And then the gift with purchases were just like an extra bit of icing on the top, because the actual build experience for each of these is good on its own. So that was very cool. So yeah, I'm going to try to get these reviews out to you guys as quickly as possible. If I ever do get the opportunity to get sets provided to me early by Lego for review, I will obviously be able to do that much quicker. But as it is, I just have to run out to the store like all of you guys and get the sets as quickly as I can for review. So apologies for the slight sort of delay in getting these out to you. I really do hope that this is still useful to you when you're watching it and making your purchase decisions. And I hope that you have a fantastic rest of your May. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you on the next video, and may the Force be with you.